Hello everyone. It's certainly been a long time and a lot has happened since my last video, as many of you may know. What started out as a fun little project with a friend so we could play Warhammer online, it couldn't really stay the way that it was as Foundry grew incredibly quickly and gained traction as a real competitive virtual tabletop amidst the giants. It was clear that in this new scope that the system had to be cut back due to some copyright concerns. First of all, I want to be completely clear in that this decision was mine to make and to act on. Cubicle 7 didn't force me or anything like that. On the contrary, I'm contracted to them now to bring it back all officially. And that's what this video is about. It's to show that off. Over the past months, I've been hard at work putting my best effort into not just bringing back what was removed, but providing the best integration that I and the Foundry platform are capable of. This is Warhammer 3.0, which is just the start of some major improvements I have envisioned. But I don't want to get ahead of myself. Let's talk about these official modules first. You can see we currently have an empty game world. This is how the system comes as it is. There's no actors, no compendium packs, nothing pre-made. There's no real tables, there's a few, not much. This is the free system as it is that you can download to begin building your game. However, upon activating the core content module, we can see that it's all going to change. Upon first activating this module, you'll see this initialization dialog pop up. I recommend you go through this process, and I'll show you what it does. So a lot just happened behind the scenes. We can see that our compendium is filled out with all the familiar packs that were in the old system, plus a few more. The bestiary now contains full images, along with the token image when used on the battle map. Entire career descriptions are now available with the accompanying art. You can see that all of these descriptions are fully linked, and you can view the artwork. There's also tokenized versions of this artwork in the files included for your use. However, it's not used anywhere in the system by default. One thing I do want to mention is the hundreds of icons we previously used. We obviously could not keep those here in the official version. However, note that the paths to the icons have not changed, and the structure of the folders has remained the same. So if you have the old folder full of icons, you can simply drag that folder into the same icons folder in the module, and all your icons will be replaced. I don't typically recommend you edit module or system files because they will be deleted upon updating. However, if you keep this folder handy, you can just keep replacing it every time. So that's just my tip. I do hope in future updates we can begin phasing out the basic icons with newer, better ones. But anyway, along with the compendium, we also have more tables. Now, we have all the old tables that were in the old system, as well as all the tables from the GM booklet, such as the job table, or the how do I know you table. Along with the tables, we also bring back character creation. So, just like before, you can simply roll up a quick character with the /char command. The last thing I want to talk about with the core module are the journal entries. Now, we've imported tons of them, as you can see, and I hope these are super helpful to you as they are both rule journal entries and lore journal entries. All of them are linked together in various ways. They might link to other items, they might link to other journals, and I just hope that this lets you access the things you need very quickly at a moment's notice. So if we look at the lore journal entries, you can see they've all been separated out based on what sort of area they pertain to. And like the rules, they all link towards each other as they reference each other. so you can easily find lore or connecting lore or just any additional information you might need. Now, what's super cool about these lore journal entries is how we apply them. Let's go to our Scenes tab and find the map of Reichland. Now, this is the one everybody knows and loves. It comes with the core rulebook. However, in this case, I've applied all of the glorious Reichland lore journal entries as pins to this map. So we can easily see and access the surrounding locations or maybe distant destinations that your players might want to go to. And aside from the content itself, this is probably my favorite thing to bring in the core content module, as it's just such a cool application of the journal entries and note pins that you can provide your players with a living dynamic map that you can show them this lore as they explore it. As much as I'd love to keep talking about the core module, let's move on to the real new stuff. Let's go to our next module, the starter set. The starter set goes through pretty much the same initialization process as the core module in that it does all the work for you. So let's activate this and go through the initialization process. This time, unlike the core module, a lot more things are imported. We can see tons of journal entries. We can see all the actors within the Ubersreich folder, all divided by their adventure or relevant area. Here are the pre-generated characters for your players, both with the full body artwork and the tokenized artwork. If we look at the items tab now, we can see there's a few items that come up in the various adventures or locations, such as some of the potions that were in one of the potion shops, or some of the mutations that some of the enemies had. If we look at the journals, we can see Ubersreich, and in that we have the adventures. Here's the main adventure, all divided into its chapters or parts. We have the city itself, which is divided into its districts, and in each district you have a journal entry pertaining to a location in that district. And you may see what's coming up. I'm giving similar treatment to the City of Ubersreich map as I did to the Reichland map, probably my favorite feature of this little module. All the locations that are in the city districts are pinned to the map here, as well as being color-coded to what district they're in. If they have artwork, you can see that in the journal image. If they have any sort of relevant actors or items associated with that area, they'll be linked into the description. If you zoom out, you can probably see some coloring done to the map. These are drawings that I've placed, and these drawings will denote the various districts. If they're hard to see, you can show them to the players to give them a visualization. Or if you don't want them at all, you can just simply unlock them by right-clicking them all and then just deleting them. So that sums up the starter set module. It's a whole bunch of content ready for you to use to get your players into the Ubersreich setting. I should mention one thing, however, that a lot of the simplified rules and game handouts that are like rules references or player aids, I've not included those because I feel like the system itself automates enough and those aren't really needed. But if there's a high demand for a certain sort of handout or document, I can add that in an update. There is another thing that comes in the physical product that I want to talk about in this module is the physical dice. Now, this is really cool. What I've done is I've installed the Dice So Nice module, and this is an excellent module. It's free, anyone can use it. What it does is basically your die rolls are shown on screen as 3D dice rolled on the canvas. So you can see here, you can see the D100 roll, But there's a lot of customization options, and I've added some WFRP specific options that are only available in the starter set. So we have WFRP black, we have WFRP white, and red. When you use these, you can see the D100 roll is given the special dice design that is in the starter set physical product. So now when we roll this, you can see it looks all fancy. Entirely optional, just a cool little feature for the starter set. And as well, you can see if you roll a coin toss, you can roll with cool Warhammer coins. The coins specifically are actually available in the core module as well, but only as coins. Huge shout out to JDW, who does fantastic work with the Dice So Nice module. He's helped me get these dice looking great, and he's a huge WFRP fan and has actually contributed some features in the Warhammer rule set. All the market availability code is all him, so huge thanks to him. Let's keep moving with the Rough Nights and Hard Days module. Like all the other modules, the initialization process will organize everything for you. However, there's a few really cool, unique features with the Rough Nights and Hard Days module, notably this clock at the bottom right corner. This can aid you in the various adventures in this module by keeping time, because all of them have events that occur at specific times. They're all time-driven adventures. So you can click on it to advance by 1 minute, you can control click to advance by 15 minutes, and you can shift click to advance by an hour. Right click will do the reverse of all of those. Everyone can see this clock, however only the GM can control it, obviously. Additionally, there is a module setting that will allow you to synchronize this clock with the calendar weather module, which already does keep track of time and date for you. So if you want those times to be perfectly in sync, and you can see the clock go in real time, just use that module and that setting and it should do it for you. The other notable thing about this module is gnomes have been added to character creation and NPC generation. So you can generate any sort of gnome character you'd like now, as well as use that with NPC generation. Which, if you're unfamiliar with, look at the beta video and you can see how that works. Alright, let's go through initialization and see what this module offers. Like all the others, all the actors are organized by their adventure. There's a lot of scenes in this one, so it sometimes takes a bit to initialize. But after that, you can see all the artwork, all the plots linked together with the actors involved. All the scenes also in their own folders. Fully walled, ready to be populated with the actors of the adventure. The journal entries for each adventure are also quite helpful. Each section goes through the setting of the adventure, all the events in a chronological order, the plot summaries for all the different actors, the resolution, what happens at the end. A lot of things happen in these adventures, so I hope this helps you run them very smoothly in an engaging way for your players. So I'm super excited to show you the next module, which is probably the biggest one yet. It is Enemy in Shadows, as you've probably seen in the module management screen here. To be clear, the Enemy in Shadows module contains both the Enemy in Shadows campaign and the companion. So it is packed full of content. But first of all, let's go through the unique features. There's a lot of scenes in this one as well, so it takes some time to properly initialize. But when that's done, let's open up a character sheet, maybe a pre-generated character. Notice that when we open a role dialog, we have the new difficulties that are in the Enemy in Shadows campaign optional rules. We also have the new symptoms such as swelling or delirium, complete with full descriptions of the symptom itself and the treatment, which have been enriched with various links for ease of use. The numerous amount of tables have also been added, such as the mutation tables with all 4 columns for the different Chaos Gods, 1 column for each season, and basically everything else from fixations to hit locations to mishaps, all the companions tables ready to go. And one last thing that it adds is the optional rule for the Dar miscast effects, which is probably my favorite little feature here. So if we cast a spell, a chaos spell or a necromancy or demonology spell, what it'll do is look at the new rules, which is, in this case, let's see, if we roll a double, which we did, we can see a link here that says minor corrupting influence. Now, I'll get into this link later in the video, which I'm really excited to show. But anyway, all the new spellcasting effects can be toggled on in the module settings. So let's move on to the imported material, which is just a truckload of journal entries from the companion as well as the campaign, also including the Purple Hand information as well as the Cult Magus career, just like the career descriptions in the core rulebook. If we look at scenes, we have all the scenes from both books, as well as some of the overland maps of the surrounding areas. And of course, Bogenhofen, which has a similar treatment to Ubersreich in that all the locations have been pinned and color-coded to match the district. And if they have associated artwork, you can view it. More of the same greatness that Foundry can provide. Note that there's much more than what was imported, such if you look at the compendium, you can see packs that include all the mutations, all the new spells, all the Tzeentch and Chaos spells. We have all the items. These have been imported, but they're also available in the compendium. But here where you can see livestock and some of the new careers and talents. So that's it for Enemy in Shadows, and that's it for the modules that are coming soon. I hope you're as excited as I am. I know it sort of sucks to pay for the digital versions of books you already own, but I hope you can see all the effort that I've put into integrating this into Foundry and providing you with a ready-to-play module filled with quality of life features. So as the final part of the video, I want to go over the new Warhammer 3.0 features. Now, there's been a ton of new features since my last video. I won't really go over everything since then. I'm just going to do the brand new stuff that's releasing with these modules. Now, you don't need these modules to use these, but I'm releasing the 3.0 system at the same time as the modules are releasing. Anyway, the first feature I want to talk about might be more of a feature for me more than anybody else. It is the bug reporter. So you can access this at the settings menu, the question mark at the top right. It should be the first button, and it will pull up a form that you can fill out, at the top of which you'll see the domain dropdown. Now this is where you select what module or package that this bug applies to, whether it might be a typo in the starter set or a bug in the system. Select the appropriate package that will help me. There's also a name field. I would appreciate it if you put your name as a Discord tag or your email address so I can contact you if I have any questions. When you submit it, you should eventually get a notification that it was sent. When it does so, you can see that it says see the console for details. When you go to the console, which is F12, you should see a link to the issue it created on the GitHub page. Now, if you need to post screenshots, which are very helpful, or write any follow-up comments or track its progress, you can go to this link, and that is where the issue will be, and you can see whether I fixed it or not, or where it was fixed, etc. Now for something a bit more interesting, the actor configuration menu. This is a starting point for now, but currently has some settings that can be toggled or changed. You can access it at the top of the character sheet by clicking Configure. And you can toggle the auto calculation, but more importantly is you can change the hit location table. I might have mentioned previously that there's some modules that add hit location tables, like Enemy in Shadows adds quadrupeds. Note that these tables are only used during opposed tests against the actor. I will admit that this implementation is a bit basic. I don't want to go into too much detail, but each table basically remaps and relabels the existing normal bipedal table, so some experimentation may be needed to figure out how to set your AP values if you're using armor. Also, there's a new item type that is extended tests. You can find them in the Skills tab. If you click this button at the bottom, it will turn the Skills tab into your extended tests list. You can add any sort of extended test. When you edit the extended test, there's various details. You can type in the target and the skill name that is being rolled. For instance, we're going to use ranged bow. It should match exactly. There's various options such as negative SL or failing, decreasing your current SL. We can remove it upon completion, and the GM can hide the test or just the progress of the test. So we can go ahead and try to roll this. Let's see if we can get this complete. Let's help them out a little bit. Okay, I think this will be good. Yes, so we completed it and it was removed, and we get a little notification in the roll chat card. This also comes with a slight reorganization of the NPC sheet. They now have their own tab for careers, as well as a input for their status. And just like normal, you can click complete on your career to auto-generate all the advances and talents and characteristics for that NPC. And if you click the status button, you can give that NPC the recommended average amount of money that they may have on hand based on their status. One of my favorite little new features is the corruption command and corruption links. So you may have seen this earlier, but you can click these to prompt players to test against corruption, which will automatically add corruption if they fail, and then automatically ask for a test if they mutate. So we can drop one of our pre-gens onto the map and click resist with either endurance or cool, and we can do so. If we fail, we can see that we did, and we gain 1 corruption. Now there's a ton more new stuff, and you can find the whole list of changes in the 3.0 release details, which may or may not be out when I publish this video. So for the immediate future, I want to focus on more improvements to the 3.0 system, mainly the new Active Effects API that Foundry just released to better handle conditions and other status effects. The other major improvement I want to do is vehicle sheets, which are going to be really essential for future modules, particularly Death on the Reich. And regarding these future modules, my current roadmap for that is first I'm going to do Ubersreich Adventures number 1, and then I'm going to do Death on the Reich, which is very daunting. Enemy in Shadows took a long time, and it looks like Death on the Reich will probably also take quite a bit of effort, but I'm very excited to get started. I want to do Ubersreich Adventures 1 first, mainly because you may notice in the starter set, there might be some links that are broken, or I'll say unfulfilled links. These will point to actors that don't necessarily exist in the starter set, but do exist in other modules. For instance, Cordelia in Cordelia's Apothecary. She exists in an adventure that pertains to her in Ubersreich Adventures, but doesn't really have a stat block or presence in Ubersreich by itself in the starter set. So when you activate Ubersreich Adventures 1, that actor will be imported and this link will be fulfilled. Anyway, thank you all so much for your patience. I know it's been a long time, and I'm so happy these are finally getting close to release. I hope you enjoy them, and as always, feel free to pop into Foundry or the Ratcatchers Guild Discord to ask me questions or provide comments. I'm usually there. Thanks to everyone that supported me as I dealt with the copyright issues. It was aptly dubbed the Sundering by a community member. The support was amazing, and this may not have happened if emails weren't sent to Cubicle 7 recommending them to support Foundry. Take care, everyone, and happy gaming.